Hello and welcome to the Mixtape podcast, where every week I take a deep dive into my guests' musical influences and inspirations by asking them to make up an imaginary mixtape. They'll have 6 track choices and they'll have to pick from categories including their favourite cover version, a song they wish they could play to their 18-year-old selves, a song for a romantic interest, and a song they sing in the car or the shower. If you're enjoying these episodes, then please feel free to go to the top of the page, rate the podcast 5 stars, or give us a follow on social media at the Mixtape Podcast and Radio Show. And you can discover over 100 archive episodes just by visiting themixtapepodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hello and welcome to today's mixtape for Radio Fremantle and the mixtapepodcast.com. Joining me today, what a pleasure to be chatting to Mark Wilkinson. How are you, mate?
I'm good. How's it going, mate?
Very well, thank you. Very well. So super excited to see you coming back to Perth in August, supporting the new album, Wild and Hunted Things. That's out now on all the streaming platforms. Any plans, first of all, for a physical release, Mark, or can we pick up at shows, or what's the plan there?
Yeah, I'm actually printing some vinyl for this release, which is really cool. I will be bringing those along with me to the gig.
Brilliant. Lock me in for one. Perfect. Love to hear that. I was wondering if you'd say CDs, but vinyl's even better, mate. Yeah, love to hear that. Fantastic. Are you much of a vinyl collector yourself, Mark?
Look, I don't actually have a vinyl player, which I'm a little ashamed to admit. But perhaps I think it should definitely be in my future, but I don't have one at the moment. So I don't have a vinyl collection, but I love vinyl. And so, yes, it's just a matter of convincing my wife that it should take center stage in our living room.
My vinyl collecting went along steady like that. Then I got divorced and it just took off. I'm not putting that forward as a good thing. Obviously not. Yeah, that's how it works.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll mention it to her, but I'll say it was your idea.
Yeah, mate, yeah. All right, so we're going to see you in Perth, August 30th, Lyrics Underground, August the 31st, Kidogo Art House in Fremantle, markwilkinsonmusic.com for tickets and info for all that one. Just on the new album, Mark, just talk to us a little bit about it, the inspiration behind the album, and is there a particular theme or story that runs through the record?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different things running through the record. There's a lot of kind of searching in there. There's a lot about reinvention, and there's a lot about trying to search for joy, I think. Like the last few years have been quite transformative, I guess, for me. There's been lots of big changes, and yeah, my wife and I, we have 2 young children now, and obviously we've come through like the COVID period, which was a big change for everybody, and obviously a big change in the music industry. I think a lot of that stuff has filtered its way into the album, not necessarily intentionally, but retroactively looking back at the songs, I can see a lot of that stuff in there. And yeah, the Wild and Hunted Things, that lyric that's lifted from the album, from Adoration Sky is one of the songs, but the Wild and Hunted Things are supposed to represent the things in life that really inspire you and make you feel enriched and fulfilled. And I think as you get older, like it can be hard to really hold on to a lot of those things, and you can lose sight a little bit of what really inspires you and what gets you excited. And so, yeah, that's what those things are supposed to represent, and the album's sort of about trying to recognize that and trying to chase those things in your life.
You mentioned Adoration Skies there. That's my favourite track off the album for sure. But have you got a track that you're most proud of, or the one that gets you going the most?
Oh, not really. Look, I'm proud of all the stuff that I put out there. So I hope there's something in all of the tracks for someone. But yeah, I don't know if there's one particular track necessarily. Like I tend to be very absorbed in a song when I'm writing it, and that is the most important song for me at the time. And then once you put it out there, it's not like I forget about it, but it's on to the next thing in a way. But then it's really nice to hear if someone has a connection with that song, and particularly at a live show, if you feel like there's a connection there, and then that sort of reinforces my connection with the song, and you get all those same sort of emotions that you had when you were writing it.
when we get to your track 5, I've got a perfect example of my connection to one of your songs, and I'm sure you're going to love that story. I'll bore you with it a little bit later on. I read somewhere, I'm not sure if it was on the socials or somewhere, you started off this record was it in Sweden?
Yeah, no, I did. I traveled over to Gothenburg to record it because I was working with a guy called Ben Kramer, whose artist name is Old Sea Brigade, who's a really brilliant artist and also a fantastic producer. And he spends, I think, half of the year pretty much living in Sweden, in Gothenburg. Yeah, traveled over there to record the album, which was a really nice experience. I'd never been there before, so it was great fun doing the album, but it was also really nice to see a new city.
Yeah. Do you feel that, obviously the song's already written, but being in that kind of different environment, did that sort of change the way you approach the recording of an album, like maybe a different way to you've done before, just because you were there?
I don't know, maybe subconsciously. I think it was a really nice experience. And yeah, as I said, seeing a new city, and also like I had a very kind of finite period and we were doing everything within that sort of 2.5 weeks, I think it was. So it was like you were very much fully invested in the process for those 2.5 weeks. Whereas in some albums I've done over the course of several months, you chip away at it more in that sort of sense. So I actually really enjoyed doing everything all at once because you can just fully immerse yourself in kind of the process. So in that sense, that was really nice. And I think perhaps there was less opportunity to overthink, which can definitely happen if you approach something over a long period of time.
So you're a regular visitor to Perth, Mark, for live shows and gigs and stuff. I know you played lyrics before and you're playing lyrics again this time. Is that sort of your go-to venue in Perth, or what are some of your other favourite venues in Perth and WA?
Yeah, what have I done? I've done the Freo Social, which I think has moved around a few times, and that was really cool. Yeah, and obviously playing Cadogo, which is a beautiful, really beautiful little intimate venue. But yeah, the last few years, Lyric has just hit the mark for, I guess, the kind of vibe that I'm going for with my show. It is a very intimate venue and it suits that singer-songwriter, I guess, sound. But don't get me wrong, look, if I was so popular that I could sell out like a stadium or something, then I perhaps might upgrade. But it hits the mark in that sense as well. But I love coming over to WA. Yeah, it's such a pleasure. I'm really excited to be back over there. I'll pretty much go wherever they'll have me, Mark. Yeah.
Kidogo, I should have mentioned at the top, Kidogo Art House has already sold out, unfortunately. So, yeah, sorry if you were getting excited for tickets for that show while you're listening. That one has sold out. So it'll be Lyrics Underground, which I think is almost sold out. So, yeah, really looking forward to that show. Like I say, that's my birthday weekend. So my birthday's on the Tuesday. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, was it for that? Oh.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. All right, I've got a few, before we get into the mixtape choices, Mark, I've got a few sort of generic quick fire questions that I always fire to guests when they come on the show. Okay, I normally pick about 5 from a list of about 10. Let's go. Okay, what is your dream collaboration, living or dead?
Oof, that is a really tough one. Maybe I should go with someone that's no longer here. John Lennon.
Good choice. That's a good one. He's never been picked for that question before. That is a good choice. Excellent one. Okay. Fast forward 20 years, Mark, and you have been playing stadiums and you're massive all over the world. Who would play you in a movie about your life?
Oh, man. That is, I don't know. Who would play me? I'd like to say someone really cool and attractive, but it's probably not true. I don't know. Who can I come up with? Who do you think?
I was thinking about Timothy Chalamet. I think he'd be good, but he's just done Bob Dylan, hasn't he, in the Bob Dylan movie, that fella. He'd be good, but he might be, no offence, he might be a bit young.
But in 20 years' time, maybe it might...
that'd be right then. Yeah, that would work out right then.
Okay, I'm going to take it. Yeah. I'm going to take that one.
Yeah, all right, okay, cool. All right, what was the first album you ever bought?
First album, I think it was Roxette, Look Sharp.
What a cracker. That was one I used to have when I was a kid doing my paper round on my bike, on my Walkman, back in the 80s on cassette. I had That Legend by Bob Marley. I just used to keep going around them 2 albums all the time. Yeah, that's a cracking choice, that. We'll get on the Roxette a little bit later on, I'm sure, when we're talking about cover versions. Okay, talking about first, what was the first concert you ever went to?
First concert. I went to, I don't know if it was the first one, but I went to a Pearl Jam concert. There was one out at Eastern Creek which is probably means nothing to pretty much everyone that's listening. But in Sydney, it's a fair bit west, and it's a big, expansive kind of space where I don't think they have concerts there anymore, but they often had concerts back there in the day, and it was a huge, big concert. And yeah, it was fantastic. A little overwhelming, to be honest, for me at that age, because there's so many people, and there was a lot of kind of, like a crowd, a huge crowd that was moshing around. It was a little bit scary at times because I was really young, but yeah, a really cool experience all the same.
I'm taking my son to his first show this year, AC/DC at the Optus Stadium in Perth. He's only 13. And I'm thinking the same, like it's going to be like,
it's going to be a big
month.
Yeah, like a similar experience.
Yeah, but he's 13, but he's as tall as me, so he's 6 foot nearly. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine down the front there. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a great one. Yeah, I've never seen Pearl Jam live. They're really high on my list. I've seen Eddie Vedder solo at Perth Riverside, I think it was a few years ago. But yeah, I've never seen Pearl Jam live. That would have been a good one. Great one to kick it off. First ever gig. Wow. Okay, final one of the quick fire questions. Let me pick one. This will be a good one for you. I'm not expecting a very exciting answer for this one because you're not that sort of guy. What is the most rock star thing you've ever done?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I've done anything rock star. What have I done?
Have you ever smashed up a guitar or anything like that?
No, I've done that unintentionally. I've missed a few flights. That's probably from contributing factors of being hungover.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not sure if that's very rock star, but as you mentioned, I'm not incredibly rock star myself, but missed a few flights, done some stupid things, but I haven't really thrown any TVs out of like apartment. Like that.
Okay.
Maybe I should, just so that I have a good answer for that question.
You're listening to The Mixtape.
The Mixtape is brought to you in association with Giglist. Giglist is your one-stop shop for all your live events. If you're looking to get out and experience some live music, you can filter by artist, venue, suburb or date. If you are an artist, it will take you less than a minute to list your gig for free on the website. The Mixtape brought to you in association with Giglist. Gigs in a list. All right, mate. Let's drop into the Mixtape track choices. Track one of your mixtape, Mark. What is a song you would use to kick it off? Good attention grabber. Track one, what would you go with?
Yeah, so I went with Babylon, David Gray, because I love David Gray and he's been a big inspiration of mine, and particularly when I started writing songs. I love White Ladder. That album obviously is huge, was huge, and it was really quite impactful for me. So I thought it was a bit of a tribute to David Gray, and I would lead off with that one.
That is an absolute crackerjack of an album. That's like a gold standard of singer-songwriters. I think it's a really good one. I remember I was traveling. I was doing some volunteer work in the late 90s in Namibia in Southwest Africa, and I was friends with this Irish girl, and we used to swap music, like recommendations all the time, and she taped me White Ladder on a cassette and gave it to me to listen to, and I just wore it out like non-stop. And she'd seen David Gray in like pubs in Ireland, like before White Ladder came out. Oh, wow. She was already like familiar with him because it's like his third or fourth album or something like that. It's like the longest overnight success you could ever think of. It's not even his debut. It's like his third album or something like that. And she was familiar with him like from years before. Yeah, and I've been lucky enough to see him live. I'm assuming you have as well.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, great performer. I think he's coming back later this year. I think November. I'm going to try and get him on the podcast and the radio show because, yeah, he'd be a great guest. I reckon he'd be a good one. He'd have some good stories as well for sure. All right. Track two, Mark. What is a song you sing in the car or the shower?
Yeah. So I went with A Stone by Audio Slave, which is an incredible song. And also Chris Cornell has an unbelievable voice and one of those like super cool rock voices, which I don't have, but I really wish I had. So I think secretly I wish I could sing songs like in that genre and it sound really good. So that's my one to take into the shower and just keep to myself.
I've been lucky enough. I never saw Soundgarden, but I saw Audio Slave in Canada, weirdly enough. And I also saw Chris Cornell solo acoustic in London. What a show. It's in my top 5 gigs of all time. Like, amazing he had an acoustic album out, or he was doing a lot of stuff like that, and he just sat acoustic guitar, just him, for an hour and a half. It was incredible. Yeah, really good. What a loss as well. Such a sad, tragic loss. Are you familiar with Stephen Wilson Jr.? Not Stephen Wilson from Porcupine Tree, Stephen Wilson Jr.
No, I'm not.
You'd really like him, I reckon, because he's like, this is going to sound weird, but if you imagine Willie Nelson and Chris Cornell in one person, that's what he sounds like. I'll email you a link after this because he's phenomenal. He's really, really good. Amazing guitar player as well. He's got a song called Year to Be Young, 1994, and it's all about cultural references and pop music references from 1994 about Nirvana and stuff like that. It's an amazing track. I'll send it to you. It's a really good one. Track 3. What is your favourite cover version?
Yeah, this was a tough one, but I went with Jeff Buckley and Hallelujah because it's just amazing. There's a lot of superlatives, I guess, you could use, but yeah, just such an incredible voice, an incredible interpretation, and just really beautiful. Yeah.
There's that cover version, Hurt by Johnny Cash, and what's the other one that comes up all the time? All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix. They get picked all the time in that category as favourite cover versions. And Jeff Buckley makes so many appearances on Jeff Buckley and Bob Dylan, I think, the two most represented artists in the whole 100, and this will be like 118 this episode. And then they're definitely the most represented artists out of all the picks. And yeah, I normally say to people, if you pick a Jeff Buckley track, and you got to add 5 minutes on the interview time, because I am the world's biggest Jeff Buckley fan. So I have a good old froth about Jeff Buckley while we're talking about that. Have you seen the trailer for the documentary that's come out in the last couple of days?
I literally just saw it today on social media, which I don't know if someone, obviously they're always listening to you, so someone knows that I'd be interested. So I did get fed that trailer, and it looks really cool.
All right, track 4, Mark, what is a song you wish you could play to your 18-year-old self?
Yeah, so this was a tricky one for me too. I wasn't sure what to go with, but in the end I chose Paul Kelly and How to Make Gravy, just because it's an awesome track. I love the track, but also I just think it's such a emotive and like impactful idea that this guy's sort of writing to his family. He's in jail and he's writing back at Christmas time and imagining what Christmas Day is going to be like, and just letting his family know that he loves them and that he misses them. And I think it's just a really nice, it's a good reminder to appreciate what you have and appreciate the people that you have around you. So yeah, that was why I went with that song. And I thought that's a sort of message that is a really good message to your younger self.
A couple of talking points I had for this one. First of all, have you seen the movie?
No, I haven't seen the movie. No,
I haven't either. No, I'm worried to watch it in case it doesn't live up to the song. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's a rubbish movie. I'll be like, spoil it a little bit now. Do you know what I mean?
It's like, like when they make a movie out of a great book and you're not that into it.
Yeah, for sure. And the other one I was going to mention on that, you've probably seen as much as I have. You might even have done it yourselves. Everybody posting on social media their 10 Australian tracks of all time for the Triple J Hottest 100. Have you seen them? People posting them?
Sorry, I haven't. I wasn't actually aware of that, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. So on social media, a lot of politicians are doing it to try and let people know how cool they are. But a lot of musos and just people are posting on their socials their top 10 of it's a Triple J, Double J collab, Hottest 100 Australian songs of all time.
Oh wow!
Almost every list I look at has got that on it. Definitely, that's going to be right up there when they do the 100. I'm sure that'll be in the top 5 at least. What sort of stuff were you listening to when you're 18, Mark?
I was a bit all over the place, to be honest. I was not writing songs when I was 18. Like I wasn't coming at music from a singer-songwriter perspective. So I had my kind of grungy stuff like Nirvana and Pearl Jam, and then I was listening to maybe Ben Harper and Tracy Chapman, things like that. And then I loved stuff that we just had hanging around the house, like Dire Straits and Creedence Clearwater Revival. And then there was also a little bit of, I guess, house music and like dance stuff as well. So it was quite eclectic, and I suppose not necessarily where my music has ended up when I started creating music. Yeah. It was quite varied. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Track 5, Mark. If you were making up a mixtape, to woo someone, maybe when you first met your wife or whatever, and you were putting a playlist or a mixtape together, what would be a song you would use for that?
Yeah, so I went with You Are So Beautiful by Joe Cocker because it's just like Joe Cocker's voice is out of this world, but also the song is like just so simple and to the point, but so beautiful as well. And it's just, I think, a great example of like when there's a really simple idea done incredibly well and the songs just works.
That Joe Cocker comes up a lot at track 3 as well with a little help from our friends. That comes up quite often. He's always popping up on the mixtape. The story I wanted to tell you when we were talking at the start about your music and, you know, how your connection with it and your sort of the people who listen to your music, sort of connection to your music. So let me tell you this, right? So I might cut this out. We'll see how we go, but I'll tell it to you anyway. So remember when I met you, Lyrics, right? Last time you played there after the show. My partner was with me at the time, Cara. We were together. Well, we weren't together, but we were together at your gig. What the context around us being at your gig was, we'd broken up about 2 months before the gig, right? We'd split up. We've been together for 2 or 3 years and we'd broken up. And I broke you off and I was like, immediately, what are you doing, mate? It's the best thing that ever happened to you. What are you doing? You're an idiot. And I knew I'd got it wrong straight away. But I knew I broke her heart and I didn't want to break up with her and then go, I think we maybe get back together. It couldn't come from me. Do you know what I mean? If we were going to get back together, it had to come from her. Anyway, we didn't speak for very much at all for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month. And then we started talking about, because we had gig tickets for gigs like in advance down the line, and we started divvying up who'd bought what tickets and blah, blah, blah. And we had tickets for Human League, I remember, and she went with her mate to that, and I was a bit gutted. I was like, oh, bloody hell, I really want to see that. But we had tickets for that show, right, at Lyrics. And after a sort of few weeks of us being broken up, things were cool. They were always amicable anyway, but she said, I don't want to go to see Mark Wilkinson with anyone else. I want to go with you. Can we just go as friends and blah, blah, blah. So I said, yeah, of course, no worries, we'll do that. And thought, okay, it's good. We're gonna go out as friends on a date and it'll be fine. And during your gig, when you did Everything to Me, I just sidled in a little bit closer, do you know what I mean? And just put my arm around her waist a little bit. And then that was the start of it. And then after the show, when we finished talking to you, because I'm a dead set romantic, I took her to the kebab shop round the corner for something to eat. And that was the conversation that opened up the possibility of us getting back together, which I'm delighted to say we are now back together for just over a year and very much in love. So thanks for that, mate. I appreciate that. That's what that song means to me a lot now, that track. Yeah, so that was awesome. So I just wanted to give you that story.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, so good.
I'm very, very proud to be a part of your reunion. Thanks for the story. I appreciate it.
No worries. All right, let's wrap up your mixtape, Mark, with track 6 is like a deep cut, a sort of a song you think is, doesn't get the recognition it deserves, mate.
Yeah, when you asked me that, I was trying to think of a good song to choose, and obviously there are a lot of tracks out there that are underappreciated. But I thought back to a track that I discovered quite a few years ago. It's called Stages of Love, and it's sung by Christopher Coleman. And I actually think his father wrote the song. And yeah, it's just a stunning song. It's written about how a relationship develops over time, from young love to a married couple that's been married for 50 years. And it's just gut-wrenchingly beautiful. And I just started tearing up listening to it the first time I heard it. And Christopher sings it so beautifully. So yeah, I was just like, wow, this song is incredible. And I think it should be just like a standard, like an Australian standard or something, or like a universal standard. It's just a beautiful song. And just the way that it's expressed is just really subtle, and it really hits home for me anyway.
What I do, Mark, for on the radio show, we'll be hearing the songs obviously in between us talking about. If you are listening to this on the YouTube channel or the podcast, if you drop down in the description, there will be a link to a Spotify playlist of all of Mark's mixtape track choices. Plus also there you can find all the track 1s that everyone's ever picked, all the track 2s, all the track 3s, all the track 4s, etc. in 6 separate playlist. That is your one-stop shop, themixtapepodcast.com. You can find all those links as well. Also down in the description, there will be a link to Mark's website, a link to his socials, and the ticketing link as well for the Australian tour. Thanks, Mark. Cheers. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Awesome, Mark. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to the Mixtape podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to go to the top of the page and rate it 5 stars, or give us a like or follow on social media at the Mixtape podcast and radio show. Don't forget, there's over 100 archive episodes just waiting to be discovered. And all you need to do is visit themixtapepodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.